But no, I think we talked enough about everything as much as we possibly could. I am excited for this minor. I will apologize again for earlier in the show when I slipped up and was talking a little bit about some land stuff. Just getting excited for Call of Duty to be back, but we will have land Call of Duty soon. Before we get to that, though, we do have this online minor and then some more online qualifiers. But end of the day, excited for this tournament to kick off, and excited to finally have some Call of Duty back on the screen to watch from a CDL perspective.
Yeah, for sure. I just want something. I think next year, my hope is that the break could be a little shorter.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, even obviously we're talking about it from a different point of view. We're talking about it as like we're trying to make content. We're trying to talk about it, for sometimes an hour, hour and a half at a time. That's not what typical people do. So I understand that point of view. But even from a general fan's perspective, having an entire month off between matches, like imagine if the NFL is just like we're on a month break, like that doesn't work. It happens for like the Olympics with some sports that are interrupted by that, but even then, like it's at least you have something. Like when the WNBA had their Olympic break in the summer, at least you could see WNBA players playing in the Olympics. It was something to watch. Like you could kind of stay connected to it. The only way you could really do that now is like, okay, watch Shotzi's stream. Like, is he streaming scrims? No. What's he streaming? I don't know. Like wagers, like just ranked play kind of BS. And I just don't think like you can keep the fans' interest when you have a month long break and your season's only like 6 months long anyway. So
I do think it's in a weird spot just based on when the Call of Duty game is released every
yeah,
year, and its closeness to the holiday season, which I do give the CDL credit for, especially just in the landscape and in general, just sense of everything to like give the players a break for the holidays and New Year's and whatnot. I agree with that. I think the only way you could potentially avoid, I guess there are a couple ways, but just two ideas that come to mind. Um, to like kind of lessen the break or have the break and then just not like interrupt things as much is either have that first major on land before the holiday break, like sort of back to like CWL Las Vegas for Black Ops 4. Like they did that event in early December, I think, and then the CDL season or CWL season like really kicked off after that. I don't remember how all the break and how long it was and all that, but I do remember that Vegas event happened in December, if I remember correctly. Um, and the other thing would be to do like some sort of minor or like a 2K or 5K tournament on like the weekend between Christmas and New Year's. Um, Logistically, that would probably be more of a nightmare, and maybe there would be some way to make it like not for CDL points, just for money. But then you got like people traveling and maybe not at their setups and whatnot. So then you would have like teams playing with subs and whatnot. So really not a great answer. And then even if you run into if you do some sort of online tournament like that, uh closer to the holidays and you say like no CDL points but X amount of money, then you run into the issue of like how much people are going to care if there's no points and it's just a little bit of money sort of thing. So um not sure there's a great solution for the break as long as the CDL is of the mindset of giving the players a break for the holidays, which I definitely agree with.
yeah. I'm not gonna argue there. I will say though, the when I was, especially when I was in high school, uh, I would pay the most attention to esports and gaming during the holidays because that's like the most free time that I'll have for.
That makes sense.
So like I would tune into streams more. I could stay up later. I could like actually pay attention more to some of these things during the holidays. But that goes back to if you want to go back and listen to our last episode. I think we did the wish list on that episode, and I said like there should be more content ideas for how to how to make people interested in the CDL if they're maybe not that interested about the actual CDL matches all the time. Another way is to hey, we're having money eights on the weekend between Christmas and New Year's. Like, it's obviously not for CDL points, but we're gonna put $5,000 on the line. We have 8 pros in this lobby. Maybe if you want to expand it and make it, like 3 different games at a time, then you have like a bunch of CDL players. I think that's the biggest problem is like when there's not CDL matches, everything is so separate, right? If like Shotzi might be playing with his teammates, but he's probably not. So like you're only going to be watching Shotzi. And if you're watching like Scrappy, you're probably only watching Scrappy. You're not watching like LAT, you're not watching Optic, you're not watching multiple CDL players at once. And like I said on the last episode, I really liked watching Money Eights when I was growing up. Well, growing up sounds weird, makes me feel old. But when I was in high school and like early college, because you actually see all of these players interacting with each other, you get like an actual experience out of it, and that's something missing. So maybe if Daniel Say happens to be listening or watching, maybe he puts on an S&D tournament or some Money Eights over the holidays. Maybe even stream it on the CDL. Like get one of the casters if they want to like just BS around. Like they don't need to be like suited up and like ready to go, but maybe just have a laugh with some of the guys and talk about some of these matches. Maybe get in on some of the action themselves. I don't know, something to make it kind of so we could break it up a little bit. And that's really just obviously you have to fine tune it, and maybe that will happen because it does seem like the CDL has been experimenting more with the formats and some of the changes over the last year or so. So there's always the possibility that they do that.